This is the best way to play SYMMETRA in Overwatch 2. SYMMETRA is a highly versatile poke brawl hero who, in matchups like a Reinhardt mirror, can melt down the enemy tank by farming up her beam, whilst also having the flexibility, thanks to her teleports, to flank and split attention behind the enemy team. Depending on the comp and the map, look to either control enclosed spaces with your turrets, flank around and split focus in the mid-fight with TP bombs, or set up more defensive turret traps to catch enemies off guard. SYMMETRA's weapon, the microwave, makes SYMMETRA emit a ranged beam dealing 60 DPS to 180, leveling up every 1 second. The beam decays from level 3 to level 2 in 2 seconds, and from level 2 to level 1 in 1.5. Her alternate fire makes her shoot an explosive energy ball that deals up to 90 direct damage with a 2 meter splash radius, taking 1 second to fully charge. Considering Sim doesn't do critical headshot damage, you should always be aiming for the torso or the legs, depending on where the hitbox is bigger. For most cases, that'll be the torso, but in cases like Tracer, you should try and aim for her legs, since the hitbox is bigger there. SYMMETRA's beam is one of those hit or miss weapons, where you'll either be able to consistently charge it to level 3, easily melting down the enemy tank, which will most commonly be done against Rhine teams, or where you can charge your beam with shields, or you'll struggle getting much value at all, particularly against split compositions. However, your beam does have a limited range, so do be careful when chasing enemies who outrange you, and this is where your secondary fire can come into play. Your orbs should always be released on full charge, and are actually quite easy to hit, as they have a much bigger hitbox than what is visually represented. Combine this with their high speed and some decent aim, and they're practically undodgeable and are really annoying to play against, especially when doing your TP bombs. Lastly, spam orbs in between fights and the start of them, since you'll charge your ultimate a decent bit from it. And who knows, maybe you might even get lucky and get a pick. SYMMETRA's first ability, Portal 3, makes SYMMETRA place a teleporter up to a 30 meter distance with 200 HP, a 10-second duration, a cast time of 1 second, paired with a 12-second cooldown. Firstly, because of just how versatile the teleporter is and how many uses there are, don't try and force yourself to follow a strict set of rules on your TP usage, just apply these following uses where you see fit in your game. Firstly, there's TPing to get out of spawn quicker. Whilst there is a 10-second duration, so you can't permanently keep a spawn TP, you can and should still use TP where you see fit to skip certain pieces of map geometry, especially at the start of a game. For example, on the Pool Shrine, just teleport from spawn to the high ground, meaning that you and your team don't have to go all the way around. Secondly, you can TP to dive the enemy backline, and you can optionally do so with a TP bomb. A TP bomb is just tossing turrets through your TP, typically into aggressive positions. And sometimes you can teleport through, and sometimes you don't have to. A basic TP bomb is tossing one turret on the ground, TPing, then tossing another 2 turrets through, but again, this is completely optional. So for example, on lead gen control sensor, if you see a squishy flex support like an Arno or Baptiste, you can TP straight onto them and at least force a few cooldowns like nade, sleep, regen burst, or maybe even lamp, and you're safe whilst doing all this because if you're feeling the heat, you just TP back. I will say that against mobile, slippery backlines, like Lucio, Kiriko and Moira, you shouldn't often be doing this, similar to how on Reaper, you wouldn't normally teleport into those kind of backlines. You can also contest enemy DPS, again, optionally with a TP bomb. Referring back to that lead gen example, if there's a DPS playing in white, you can pressure and contest that DPS with a TP, then teleporting back if you're feeling the heat. Another use is to force cooldowns. This is already linked into the 2 previous use cases on Lijiang, but perhaps you don't even take the TP because the enemy team just pre-fire a bunch of cooldowns, destroying the TP immediately. This obviously forces cooldowns and can also split attention, so make sure you're timing this with when your team are engaging. You can also use TP to reach high grounds that you couldn't reach beforehand, and your teammates can also use your TP for the same reason. The high grounds on Kings or third points are a good example. Speaking of teammates, you can also use your teleports to combo with abilities and ultimates. There's a flurry of them that you can combo with, like Riptire, Death Blossom, Diva Bomb, Shatter, and High Noon, but here's a classic example of comboing it with Terra Surge.
Oh! What the fuck?
There's also using TP to rotate yourself or your team past dangerous areas of the map, particularly at chokes. For example, on the Poor Village, if the enemy team are holding close, you can double back and TP main, or TP straight past them. And lastly, you can use TP as a kiting tool. If you need to run away from Grav, or to disengage from a Valkyrie, Coalescence, Rally, or Beats, a defensive TP can greatly help with that, and in a similar vein, TP can also allow you to play more aggressive off angles as it gives you a free escape. And speaking of escape, you can chase down enemies who are trying to escape you. SYMMETRA's second ability, the AirPods Pro, makes SYMMETRA launch up to 3 small turrets, each dealing 40 DPS and a 15% movement reduction. The AirPods are packing 30 HP and they're on a 10-second cooldown per turret. To put it simply, turrets allow you to do what you're already doing to a greater degree. For example, if you're planning to dive the enemy backline, as I've talked about with your TP in the last section, you can then use your turrets in a TP bomb to dive the enemy backline harder. If you're planning to peel your supports, you can put turrets around you to peel them more, and if you're planning to mark flanks, you can put turrets on the flanks to mark them, giving you early information as to where they might be coming from.
1 is enough, 2 is fine. To help your Reinhardt with the battle, if the battle happens here, etc. Totally fine. Give me something that provides a little more protection on this flank. Give me something that's an early warning system if they take the good push, which is through high ground here. Or give me something that, warns me if they're coming this way, etc. Like, your turrets, yes, you want to use them for their damage, for their slow, primarily for their slow, but you also can use them as early warning systems on flanks. I'm not saying, spend all of your turrets covering the flanks, etc. That's not what I'm saying. But put a turret on whichever flank you think is more critical, more important, etc.
You can also use them to melt down the enemy tank, to distract them from your beam, allowing you to melt them further. Just make sure to put your turrets high up, as well as on off angles in order to do this.
And even here, surely this isn't the best place for turret. Where would you turret?
Behind, like the Mercy on the blue thing?
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what I was thinking. Right here. There's Genji. You control the space here, right? Just throw a little bit. Now, they might break it, yeah? It's helpful. It denies the high ground. This is too easy to break for them. You want turrets to either complement your beam in a location where it's hard for them to break, or you want turrets to control space that you cannot reach with your beam. In other words, I can't reach this far with my beam, so I'm gonna throw a turret here to make sure that they don't go there, right? Then if they walk away from the beam of the turret, they walk into my beam, right? Same reason why you could throw a turret over here, right? Up above the wall. Would Rein break it? Probably, but it would provide an area of pressure that you cannot reach with your beam.
So on Lijiang, just covering those 3 uses, you can put your turrets in the entrance of the point, which is the usage that Sparrow just talked about, or you can put a turret close side to mark any flankers, or you can put a turret or 2 by your supports if they need some peel. Turrets can also be used to distract the enemy, and by setting up a trap, drawing more attention away from the front line. For example, on King's first point defense, you can place 3 of your turrets in the corner of the choke, making it really annoying for a flex support to deal with. If you happen to be dueling in a 1v1, you can also use turrets on the ground while fighting them to give you a slight edge, forcing their attention away from you. And lastly, one overlooked detail of turrets is that they can actually block things thanks to their hitbox. Use them in dire situations to block incoming one-shots, like a Widow or a Hanzo shot, a High Noon shot, or even Sigma's Rock. SYMMETRA's ultimate, Trump's Wall v2, makes SYMMETRA deploy a 4000 HP barrier that can last 12 seconds. There's 2 fundamental uses of Sim's wall, an aggressive and defensive use. For aggressive uses, place the wall straight or vertically, and for defensive uses, place the wall flat or horizontally. If your team are running Lucio speed, or you're engaging headfirst into the enemy team, doing an aggressive wall will likely be the play. However, if you need to react to something like a High Noon or a BAP window, then walling defensively to cut that off might be preferred. If you're unsure of what to do, just wall straight towards the enemy team, and you'll guaranteed get some value. Try and also wall on corners to cut the map into as many playable sections as possible, as MC explains here.
I'm not going to draw diagrams over that one. All I'll say here is that Meta's decision to drop the wall right on the angle here is just god tier. Here's a wall that's flat, and then here's a wall that's flat. It forms a T. The T gives his team like 3 or 4 spaces to play in without them dying. They can literally walk in and apply pressure right here and go in. When the enemy team jumps over the wall, they can come out. There's just like 4 or 5 spaces your team can play in with this wall here.
Try and also consider where the enemies will run to and retreat to if you end up walling. Try and wall in a way where you can actually chase them.
You know, as soon as you use wall, especially now that they're down 1, they're going to disengage, right? So where are they going to disengage to?
To the left. I should have placed it more to the left.
Right. So if you just simply angled it here, you guys can not only chase to here, you could chase literally to the spawn.
Yo, Meta One here. I've been told you're in need of some advanced SYMMETRA tips, okay? I know how to TP bomb, I know how to use my turret to block High Noon, but how do I actually play the damn game? How do I play SYMMETRA? What's like the gameplay loop? Okay, look, I'm here to help you. Okay, I can't keep this up, you know. I was trying to fit in with the Kajor video pacing and everything. What you're missing is playstyles. If you want to get good at SYMMETRA and you want to one-trick her, you need to learn how to play her in every situation. And in order to do that, you need to learn how to play her in Brawl playstyle and in Spam playstyle. Let me explain. Brawl playstyle is basically you're playing for your beam, okay? So you want to charge up your beam off their tank. Normally you play with your team as well, and you just play behind your shield. You charge up your beam off their tank. You spread out your turrets. You know, where you put your turrets and your TP aren't so important in Brawl playstyle. It's more about your mechanics and knowing how to min-max your aggression. Spam playstyle, on the other hand, is completely different. Normally you play away from your team and you can do a bunch of different things, but the general goal is either to get picks or just to like distract the enemy, put them out of their comfort zone, put them in a situation which they have no idea how to deal with. So you won't see people doing this in Overwatch League, but this is very effective in ranked for a start. And second of all, you need to know how to play this way if you want to play Symmetra in situations where she's not good. Okay, if they go Monkey and Pharah and your team's playing Bull, Sombra, let's say, like you're not going to be able to frontline and charge off their Monkey, you're just going to die. Okay, in that situation, you have to play spam style Symmetra, so it's very important you learn this. When you play spam style Symmetra, there's a bunch of different things you can do. As I said, you can set up turret traps and bait people into them. You can play in little rooms with your turrets to protect you and force them to come chase you. You can straight up flank. You can spawn camp people. You know, there's a bunch of things you can do, but they all have some things in common. Okay, the main rule of your turrets is you want to keep your turrets stacked. Okay, you want to have all your 3 turrets together, shooting the same target at the same time, because you want to get picks with them. Turrets mean you can do what you're already doing better, okay? And if you're not stacking your turrets together, it's not going to help you with your goals of getting picks or distracting the enemy much, really. It's very minor if you're just like spreading them out around the place, because people are just going to go past your turrets and go kill you. So put them together and it makes all your flanks, all your off angles, everything way more dangerous. Pushing you, if you play against a good spam style Symmetra, it's terrifying. Every corner, every time you can push them, you could get melted by 3 turrets, okay? 3 turrets plus an orb and you are insta-dead. The other thing is that it's entirely map dependent, okay? Some maps are really good for flanking. If I'm playing Dorado point A, I'm always going to flank you. It's just really, really good. Other maps, they're good for playing in little annoying side rooms where the enemies have to push you out because you're just on a god angle, okay? But when they push you out, they're playing into your strength, okay? The whole point is they're playing a comp where you can't get in range of, you can't beam them. But if you play in a really aggressive angle in like a side room, which the healers have to walk past, they have to push you out, otherwise you're going to kill the healers, right? And when they push you out, they're pushing into you, into your turrets, into close range, and all of a sudden, Symmetra is a good character, okay? You've had Symmetra in an awful situation and you've made her a good character, which is exactly what you need to do. Other maps, they have great spots for little turret traps. Kingsrow Point A comes to mind. I literally always get kills with this turret trap. It's elite, okay? Use this one. And that does bring me to another point. If you want to play good spam style Symmetra, you need to know a lot of Symmetra theory. Basically, you need to know what spots are good, what you should use on each point. And I would just recommend watching a lot of good Symmetra players, and you'll pick up the setups they're using. And just test them out for yourself, see which ones you like. So there's 2 approaches to this, right? Approach number 1, you can just learn Brawl style Symmetra, and then learn spam style Symmetra, and be like, well, which style is better in this situation? I'll use that. Okay, and then just keep switching between them. And honestly, that's pretty good. I used that for a long time. I got top 7 EU literally using that mentality. So, I mean, it works. It works. Or the other thing you can use, which is what I've been leaning more into now, is you can think of it like a scale, and you want to move between spam and brawl style and be like in the optimal position on that scale at all times. So maybe you incorporate some more TP bombs, play a bit more hybridy. You know, you'll be lean slightly more towards spam. All of a sudden, they pick Pharah. You're leaning hard towards spam. Oh no, they've gone Ryan. You go straight towards Brawl. You know what I mean? Like, you keep it like a scale. You switch around on that scale instead of having 2 distinct playstyles. And really, I think, in theory, that's the ideal way to play. But I would say learning 2 separate playstyles is a very good shortcut. Okay, it helped me a lot. And I don't know, it's up to you. That's up to you. Okay, hopefully this helped you a little bit. I feel like it's been pretty vague, but Symmetra's a kind of complicated character. Unlike a lot of characters where, you know, you might change how they play a bit depending on different things. Symmetra, you change completely. There's so many things, like different maps, different comps. You change completely how you play. You do completely different things. And, you know, that's why I love Symmetra. Symmetra's a fun and interesting character. But it is quite hard to make a guide for Symmetra. I would say it's quite hard to make a guide. But if you do want me to go into more detail on this, especially what playstyle to use and how to adjust your playstyle to be optimal to your rank to get maximum value. Alongside giving concrete examples, make sure you check out my educational Unranked to GM. Link will be in the description and pinned comment. Yeah. Thank you very much, Kajor, for having me on. Shout out Kajor. If you're not already subbed to him, make sure you subscribe because he makes the best guides on YouTube. And back to you.
So that's pretty much it for the guide, and again, thanks to Meta for his input. His links are down below and in the top right. As for positional stuff, the main thing, aside from good corner discipline, is to look for rotations and opportunities to get value out of your TP. Whether that be a well-timed TP bomb in the backline, teleporting to control or spam from a flank, or teleporting to aid your teammates, if you're not getting any good value from your TP, you might as well be playing a different hero. And that's it for the guides. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and if this video helped to raise your IQ, be sure to share it with your friends to also raise theirs. Until next time.